Walter White did not break bad. He revealed bad. The cancer diagnosis did not transform a good man into a monster. It removed the social constraints that had been containing one. Breaking Bad is not a story about corruption. It is a story about a man who finally stopped pretending. To understand Walter White, you have to understand what he was before the diagnosis, and why that version of him was already dangerous. Walt was a man defined by thwarted greatness. He co-founded a company called Gray Matter with his college partner Elliot Schwartz. He contributed fundamental research. Then he left. The cancer diagnosis gave Walt something unexpected: permission. Permission to stop obeying the rules of a world that had never rewarded him for following them. Psychologist The first kill defined everything. Emilio died in a chemical trap, an accident of sorts. Crazy 8 was deliberate. Walt chained a man to a pole, built a pros and cons list for murdering him, and then strangled him with a bicycle lock. He vomited afterwards. He wept, but he did it. And in doing it, he crossed a threshold that cannot be uncrossed. What is most revealing is not that Walt killed Crazy 8. It is that after a period of grief, Walt filed the memory away and moved forward. The adaptation was seamless. Disturbingly seamless. Walter White was a master of rationalization, the psychological process of constructing justifications for decisions already made by instinct or desire. Every choice Walt made was pre-decided emotionally, then justified intellectually after the fact. He told himself he was cooking to provide for his family. He told himself every violent act was forced upon him. He built an elaborate moral architecture that always somehow concluded that Walter White was the victim and the hero simultaneously. This is not unique to Walt. It is a universal human mechanism. Walt simply used it with extraordinary fluency. His family became both his shield and his hostage. Skylar, Walt Jr., the unborn Holly Walt invoked them constantly as justification. Heisenberg was not a persona Walt invented. Heisenberg was the name Walt gave to the part of himself he had always suppressed. When Walt put on the hat, he was not becoming someone else. He was becoming more himself, the version without apology, without compromise, without the performance of humility that mediocrity requires. The transformation from Walt to Heisenberg tracks precisely with his accumulation of power. The more control he had over his circumstances, the less he needed the mask of the mild-mannered chemistry teacher. Eventually, the mask was Walter White. Heisenberg was always underneath. Jesse Pinkman functioned as Walt's psychological mirror, and Walt could not tolerate what he saw. Jesse was impulsive, emotional, and morally uncomplicated in his guilt. He felt everything Walt refused to feel. Every time Jesse broke down over a death, Walt interpreted it as weakness. Every time Jesse demanded accountability, Walt manufactured a lie. Walt needed Jesse to remain broken and dependent because a functional Jesse reflected back the damage Walt was causing. The moments Walt was cruelest to Jesse were precisely the moments Jesse came closest to clarity. Walt destroyed Jesse not out of hatred, out of self-preservation. The confession came in the final episode. Sitting with Skylar, Walt said the words he had spent 5 seasons avoiding. "I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was really alive." This is the most important line in the entire series. Not because it is a villain's declaration, but because it is a human truth. Walt had been alive in the fullest sense while building his empire. The tragedy of Breaking Bad is not that a good man went bad. It is that Walt had never felt genuinely alive until he started destroying everything around him. Walter White's legacy in television is the uncomfortable question he leaves behind. How many people are living Walter White's pre-cancer life right now, trapped in quiet humiliation, sustained by rationalization, waiting for permission that never comes? Breaking Bad works as psychological horror because Heisenberg is not alien. He is recognizable. The show does not ask whether you could become Walter White. It asks whether, under the right pressure, at the right moment of desperation, you might discover that you already are. And it leaves that question unanswered, because that is the only honest ending.